There's not a lot of info out there about you.
Yeah.
Which is probably cool right now.
I love it.
You're kind of mysterious.
There's too much already.
You grew up ranching.
Oh, yeah.
Like you grew up cowboying.
Yeah.
Like,
I like
I've heard
to
you say that before, that you like to sing about being a cowboy, but you're not one. But you actually are.
I'll throw a calf around in a brand, and I can still make myself a little bit useful. It was no calculated decision to, like, I'm going to be the throwback guy. That's just all I know how to do.
Do you really every night sleep like a baby?
Oh, you know it.
No melatonin or nothing?
No, I sleep like...
Do you really?
No, I feel like I'm never getting enough. I sleep fine most of the time. It's just like 5 hours instead of 7. Yeah. You want like that or something? Here, I'll raise it up just here.
Oh, thanks. You, but you do sleep like a baby most of the time?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the time. Yeah.
Good at 8 hours?
I'll say 65% of the time. A majority.
Okay.
Anyways.
Would you like a drink? I got some Nashville.
Yeah, I've never had one of these.
If you want some caffeine.
I love it. Is this the favorite flavor for everybody? I like one.
This is the favorite flavor.
Okay, agave lime.
You can open them both. I don't mind.
That ain't bad at all. I like it. No sugar.
Okay, if you like that one, good, because I don't want you to open both.
No, leave that there.
We don't want to waste it. What, you're playing out here at Music Fest. We're at Music Fest right now. Everybody, the man that needs no introduction, Mr. Zach Top. He is on top. And I came down off the mountain yesterday morning, and I saw a crowd of people. I was like, oh, that's who's playing. I was like, that's Zach Top playing right now. And I've never seen the base so full of people. Dang.
Yeah, it was crowded down there, man. it was fun.
Yeah. But that's kind of been common for you here lately. You've been packing places out. Yeah,
dude, I'm thankful to say it's been, ever since. Kind of feels like when we put the first record out back in April last year, felt like that was a big turning point, and all of a sudden just everything was selling out, and we couldn't play anywhere without it being packed out. So it's been really fun. It's almost like when we announced this tour, because we're about to kick off my first official tour or whatever this spring, and when we announced it, everything sold out so dang fast. I think we underestimated the demand there was for tickets. It almost kind of got some people a little angry about it. With it's like we didn't give enough people a chance to come see me. But we'll do. We're going to do another tour in the fall where we'll play some bigger venues and stuff, do some small arenas and stuff like that. So we'll keep coming back around.
Yeah.
Folks don't need to worry.
Be patient.
This ain't a one and done thing. We're going to be around for 40 years. Hopefully.
Well, that's what
fingers.
Yeah, Lord willing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the creek don't rise.
What was it? Came out in April?
Yes, sir.
The album
April 24, yep.
Man, I remember the first time I heard a Zach Top song, because I was walking somewhere and it was playing, and this is gonna sound cliche. I know you probably get this a lot, but I was like, and it was the I Never Lie song. He's like, I sleep like a babe, and I was like, I'm drawing a blank on what 90s country artist this is. Like it just sounds like I feel like this was playing in my dad's Ford pickup.
Yeah.
In 1997. Yeah. I was like, well, who is this? But I remember thinking that and it going through my head.
Yeah.
And
that's
then,
cool.
I feel like, to be honest, our industry, the people that listen to music, country music, have just been craving that sound.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's probably attributed to these arenas packing out.
100%. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's kind of, I feel like country music's always been that way. It'll get kind of cyclical. There'll be something new that's kind of wacky, a little edgy, and the whole industry will kind of see that work, and so they go run down that road for a while. And I think it started, for me, I think it was Florida Georgia Line that really did the last swing that we've saw for the last, 10, 15 years when they come out with Cruise. I was like, brand new, groundbreaking thing, and everybody went and chased that for a while. Between them and Luke Bryan was right on the front end of that too. And I don't knock any of those guys. It's kind of like, go do your thing, and that was, you started something new, started a trend, and everybody went and followed it, and so that's cool. And then, but at some point, people kind of, I feel like country fans, especially maybe other different than other genres, are still never forget kind of the roots and traditions of where the music came from. And so at some point, it's kind of like, let's get back, to center a little bit maybe. And so I feel like, I'm just happened to show up at the right time. It was no calculated decision to like, I'm going to be the throwback guy. That's just all I know how to do.
Rock and roll denim is what Dale Brisby uses to spur his bucking bulls. I get the reflex. Gives me the mobility I need to be the cowboy I am. So go to rockandrolldenim.com, old son. Rodeotime.com is the only website that should exist because it's the greatest apparel line that has ever existed. So go there now to get a t-shirt, a hoodie, a cap, a vest, whatever it is you need. Go to rodeotime.com, old son.
Because I grew up on the stuff that I really cut my teeth on was the older stuff, 60s and 70s, looking at Lefty Frizzell or Merle Haggard or George Jones, like a lot of that really early stuff that the 90s guys, Alan Jackson or George Strait, some of those guys would have been growing up on as well. So I think it makes sense that I ended up with a sound that was, pretty sonically similar to a lot of the 90s stuff. And I think that that's another reason why it has been working so well is because I did come to it real authentically. That's just what comes out of me when I write and sing and play. And it wasn't some like, what would be cool right now if we did like a 90s thing. It was just like, that's just me, and I happened to hit it at the right time. And so I would just enjoy it as long as it lasts.
Man, I love that. Because I haven't really thought of that the trends that certain people chase, because that you see some creators do it on. I don't know. There's some of them. I personally don't like doing like the trend thing. Yeah. On
whatever as a TikTok trend there is, try and get on that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did do one time. I remember the thing I just thought of. We did the mannequin challenge. That was kind of funny.
What was that?
But it was like way afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just funny to do in a rodeo setting. And that was kind of fun, but we don't hardly ever, where everybody, they ran I think a basketball team did it where they run, somebody holds a camera and they walk through the locker room and everybody's holding real still.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that was the mannequin challenge.
I got you. All right. Yeah.
So I have done that, but I don't, man, for the most part, like, we don't really try to, and I'm not trying to just like jump on your bandwagon of not chasing trends, but I guess I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's why things work. It's like variety is the spice of life. If you're just doing the same thing that other people are doing, you're going to be a flash in the pan. You might have some success for a minute getting on that trend that's hot, but at the end of that, if that wasn't actually who you are, then you're left looking for another trend that you can jump on, and maybe that'll work too. But if you, I think you're exactly right that you're a very unique, I don't know, what do people call you, a creator? Oh, it's obviously comedian.
Rider.
Yeah, well, obviously world's greatest bull rider. My apologies.
But then also, yes, I might be categorized occasionally as maybe a creator or an influencer.
Yeah, obviously, comedy and all that.
Yeah.
But you have this, unique amalgamations of a bunch of different things. Bull riding being the first priority one. Yeah.
But of course.
But, the rest of the stuff fits in there nice to, it creates a super unique thing that nobody else is doing.
Yes.
And there might be some other thing, other people that's trying to do something similar to you, but you were, as far as I can tell, the first one to do that type of thing and be the, Western cowboy comedian thing.
No.
I feel like you really hadn't seen before.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
That's why,
We definitely started. It was very authentically, I was just trying to have fun. Yeah. I liked making people laugh in a room, and then we put it on the internet. And so it grew from there. Yeah. Which it sounds like it's kind of how your music grew.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
How did it start? Like when'd you pick up a guitar? Because you're what? You're 27?
Yes, sir.
And
my parents got me a guitar, a little Walmart First Act when I was 3. I think I was just yelling about I wanted to be George Strait. That was their favorite. They always had him playing around the house and stuff. And I really wanted to be a cowboy. I think they were smart enough to realize that I really wasn't any good at it, and so maybe the closest I could get would be to sing about them. And so they got me a guitar because I just wanted to wear a cowboy hat and hold a guitar like George Strait. And
But you grew up ranching.
Oh, yeah.
Like you grew up cowboying.
Yeah.
Like,
I like
I've heard
to
you say that before, that you like to sing about being a cowboy, but you're not one. But you actually are.
a little.
Yeah.
A little. I like to say I spend enough time on a horse's back looking at the cows behind that I can wear the hat without any shame. But I would not. I ain't no top hand, that's for sure. But I'll throw a calf around in a brand, and I can still make myself a little bit useful.
That's what, because it does seem like that's another thing that helps you, because there are a lot of people that would love to sing about it, but have not really ever done much of it.
Certainly.
And which I think is okay. Like, I don't fault anybody that sing about whatever you want, because there's there's probably a lot of, in every genre of music, there's probably a lot of guys out there that have like some hardcore gangster rap that have never even punched a person.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Yeah, sing about what you want, wear what you want. People have worn a lot wackier things than a cowboy hat on stage, and it's like, it don't matter. But I do think that it gives you
an edge.
At least for sure, with like the rodeo crowd or the actual Western cowboy crowd, when they see somebody that's like, oh, this guy got his hat before he moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. And so I think you get a little bit of an in with certainly that crowd, and probably some others too.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of info out there about you.
Yeah.
Which is probably cool right now.
I love it.
You're kind of mysterious.
There's too much already. People find my phone number and my address, and we'll have to put a stop to that.
Have you had to change it yet?
No, I should have changed it a while back, but I haven't yet. I just get random calls or FaceTimes or texts now. That's my favorite, the text that's just like, is this Zach? I'm not going to respond to that. Yeah. You're going to need to give me a little info. If I know you or something, I'll respond back to you. But
about twice a year, I get a random about 13-year-old steer rider. So you probably get more than that. So anyhow, I got off track. Back up. You're I want to hear George Strait, or I want to be George Strait, 3, 4, 5 years old. Yeah. So they got me a guitar. I didn't even know that it made a difference, and they didn't either. I was left-handed, so I was playing a right-handed guitar left-handed, and just, I wasn't actually playing it. I just hollering along to George Strait songs and banging on the thing. And but then when I was right about the time I turned 5, they put me in lessons with a gal named Marie Parks, that she happened to be big into the bluegrass world, that type of music. So she kind of got me started. She was just teaching me what she knew, and I kept on asking her to learn country songs. That was the first song I asked to learn how to play, was Amarillo by Morning. And I think she was a little aghast that a 5-year-old would sing about losing his wife and his girlfriend. So she said, maybe let's start with Jesus Loves Me. We can work our way up to that. And I did. We started with Jesus Loves Me, but by the first time, I played my first show when I was 7, and we had Amarillo by Morning in the set. So I got my wish, I guess. But anyways, she kind of started me, and subsequently my whole family, down the bluegrass road. So I got a little brother and 2 older sisters. They all picked up an instrument. Little brother played mandolin. My older sister played fiddle, and then my oldest sister played bass. And so we had us a little 4-piece band. We ran around all the bluegrass festivals and open mics and Grange halls that we could find that Dad could get us signed up at, and rode up in the RV and jumped out and played our little whatever songs we were playing at the time. And did that for 10 years, I guess. Yeah, from 7 to, we played our last show when I was 17. And then all my siblings grew up and got real jobs, and I'm still doing this. So how many siblings you got?
Just 3.
3.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's 4 y'all total.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4 total.
Dang. Nobody knows this, but I was in college, and I got a fiddle, and there was a guy that was teaching me, and I was like, first song I wanted to learn was Amarillo by Morning.
There you go.
And turns out it's very advanced for a beginner
for a first
player.
song. Yeah, whether you're playing it on guitar or fiddle, it has a little bit of a challenge to it.
And I went to a couple of lessons, and I just kind of lost track.
Yeah.
And I was rodeoing. It was in the summertime during college. I got to chasing that trail a little more, but I did. That's the common ground we have.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I love it.
My dad was in the original music video.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's funny.
There's 2 bareback riders. One of them hangs up, and then the other one is my dad.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
that one guy, he is getting wrecked
Yeah.
out. Poor guy. I met a relative of his once.
How funny.
And she was like, "Yeah, that one's my dad." I was like, "Oh,
How'd he fare after that? That's funny.
dang, traveling with your family."
Yeah. Yeah, we ran around 10 years. Luckily I didn't ruin any relationships with my siblings, because I remember we had some brutal band practices. I was definitely the one that wanted it really bad, and I'd sit down there and play guitar for 3 hours a day, and then try to get them to, do a little band practice for whatever show we had coming up or something. And I was definitely an unpleasant little tyrant a lot of times, I'll say.
Do they tell that story the same way now? Like everybody just agrees?
Oh, I think
like,
they would. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
the path you were on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And they're very gracious to me that they don't begrudge me all those miserable band practices. But yeah, I think they saw that too, that was all I wanted to do. I was ate up with it.
And
but
so
yeah.
At 17,
Mm-hmm.
that's wild that you came out of, going into 18 years old, and you've already got so much experience on the road. Like you've already learned the hard lessons.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to be in a van.
Yeah.
And so you take off as, going into your 20s, like with just all kinds of experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it really was, especially in this age of the, people going viral on TikTok, and if it goes big enough, they'll get a record deal out of it. But they never played in front of 20 people before. It was just a 15-second video,
Dang,
and that's not the case for all of them. But a lot of the times you see that, and yeah, I feel like they get to skip a lot of steps on the front end that ends up, probably hurting them later on, and maybe damages the longevity of the career. I think I was lucky to get the opportunity to not just, practice singing and playing for a long, long time, but be on stage in front of people, be behind a microphone, learn how to keep people entertained and engaged for 45 minutes or an hour and a half or however long it was. We played bar gigs 3 or 4 hours or something. And there's a lot more to the art of being a performer than just playing and singing good. And so I feel like I got a pretty advantageous little head start, starting as a kid, just learning real quick. When I was when we were real young, it was my mom kind of scripting out. She'd write us a set list and she'd script out between the songs, make little notes on like, all right, and now you're going to say this, and then you're going to tell this little joke. And so like she helped us early on for sure, because obviously a 7-year-old doesn't know how to entertain, adults really.
Yeah.
But, she helped out a lot early on. And then, you just learn, trial and error, what goes over good and gets a laugh, or keeps people engaged, or what just goes over like a turd in a punch bowl. So I did plenty of those.
Yeah, so you had quote unquote bombed on the joke side of things, and just like the entertainment side of things, like a comedian might.
Big
You had
time.
done that a few times.
A lot, because that was always very important to me too. Like you said, just like I like making people laugh. I like to be able to just like be quick witted and get people to chuckle a little bit. And so I was always trying to do that, even way back when, and definitely missed a lot.
So that was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So 2014. I'm wondering, did you know around 2014, 2015 that social media could play a role in your success?
No, not yet. 2014, well, it was 2015 actually. I had done 2 years of junior college. I thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer. Like my parents knew that I was really pretty good, but they had no connection, no idea about the music business, no idea how to like point me in the right direction to like, if you want to do this for a living. And so my dad's advice was just like, no, you go get a good job that'll pay you good, where you can afford to take weekends off and go play for fun at these same bluegrass festivals. And so that was all I knew was like an opportunity. Obviously I knew people sang for a living and stuff, but I had no idea how to even take a step in that direction. So I moved to Colorado in 2015, worked there for a year, and then did a year of school at CU Boulder. I just went there mostly because both my sisters ended up landing there, and so was some family. I wanted to kind of get out of Washington. Pardon. These things will really make you belch after a little bit. I got to slow down on the ranch fuel. They are a little bit. Yeah, you'd think I'd learn that by now. But anyways, they were both there, so that seemed like an easy spot to land, and I liked the idea of Colorado. Anyway, I did a year of school, and then just quit. I was not into it, and I kind of was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think I want to go, instead of going into more debt on student loans, I'm going to go try and work and save up some money, and maybe I can move to Nashville and figure it out somehow. And then I guess it would have been the spring of 2018, a fella named Daryl Singletary died. I don't know if you ever remember him, but he had a bunch of great songs. One of the best singers, I think, since, Merle Haggard or George Jones, I think. But anyway, he passed away. I covered my favorite song of his, a song called Spilled Whiskey, and that was the first thing. I'd put maybe like 3 or 4 videos up before that point.
34 videos?
No, 3 or 4.
Oh, gotcha.
Just me sitting in my room playing guitar, old cover songs that I liked, and they'd get 3, 4, 5,000 views or something on Facebook. That was all.
34,000 views is a lot of views.
No, 3, 4, or 5,000.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought this was about to be a bit or something you was pulling on me. No, just 3, 4, or 5,000 views or something. And then when I posted that Spilled Whiskey video, the day that he passed away, it, in a matter of it was a week or 2 or something, it had blown up to 300,000 views and got shared around on a couple big, country music pages and stuff. And it was funny. I started getting calls from people in Nashville that had found my information or whatever, and it was mostly shyster types that would call me up and be like, hey, if you can come up with $20,000, get your butt to Nashville and we'll cut your record and make you a star. And I didn't know anything about the music business, but I didn't think that was how it worked. So I kind of got burned out of all that.
And you got nobody, I don't want to say you've got nobody, but who would you have asked for advice then?
No, nobody outside of
just
my
your mom
dad and mom.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. They thought the same thing, where it's like, well, it's good that you're getting some attention, but that doesn't sound like how it works.
Yeah.
And so ended up, I think about a month later after that video kind of popped off, my producer now, a guy named Carson Chamberlain, sent me an email with no information in it. He was just like, and if you ever meet Carson, it makes perfect sense in 5 minutes that he would send this email. He was like, hey, bud, my name's Carson Chamberlain. Been in the music business a while. I'm not much for tooting my own horn, but you can probably look me up if you want to. I'd like to talk about working with you. Here's my phone number. And so anyways, I just thought it was another one of the, people trying to pull a fast one on me. And so I ignored it for a while, and then turned out the gal that I was dating at the time, she helped me a little bit with the social media side of things and whatnot. And anyway, she called me. I was out on a show, and she was like, hey, this Carson Chamberlain guy, you remember him? And I was like, nah, I don't know. Name rings a bell, maybe. And she's like, all right, I'm sending you a Wikipedia link right now. You're going to want to read that, and you're going to want to email that guy back. And so anyway, pulled up the Wikipedia link, and he was Keith Whitley's steel player and band leader and tour manager for basically his whole career, which was short, but he was really probably the biggest influence on my singing. He was my favorite singer as a kid, and still is one of them. But that was already just like, oh, this guy's actually done it. And then he was road manager for Alan Jackson and Clint Black, and successful producer. He did a bunch of the early Mark Wills hits. He did the first 3 or 4 Easton Corbin records, first 3 or 4 Billy Currington records, just a bunch of hits, and then a writer on, hit songs a mile long. So that was the first legitimate person that was like, all right, this guy's worked with people that I not only know the name of, but they were heroes of mine. So maybe he'd be worth talking to. So we started talking on the phone. That was spring of 2018. By the summer of 2018, he happened to have a place out in Colorado, not too far from where I was living. And he he was like, you want to get together for lunch? And so I said, yeah, sure. And so he came down from Fort Collins to Louisville where I was living, and we had lunch and ended up spending the whole afternoon together. He came back to my, rotten little college house with my roommates, and it was a dump. And I sat there on the couch and played him some songs, just me and the guitar. Anyways, and then we kept in touch, and that fall, 2018, I started flying into town. The first week we were out there, he set up a bunch of co-writes for me. I flew in, he let me stay at his house, and and there was never any talk of any money or nothing. It was just he had found something that he wanted to work with that he thought would work, and was just like, and he was very upfront about it. He was like, here's the deal, I'm not gonna, I'll put in all the time and all the, give it everything I have, and if it works, great. I'll take a percentage on the back end, and if it doesn't, you don't owe me nothing. So that felt a lot more like, and the other thing that he told me too was that he was like, you're great, you sing great, you play great, you know good songs, but you're not ready, you don't know who you are yet, kind of a thing. And so we spent, I would say, the better part of 3 years for sure before. So he was like, we're not going to go cut a record next week. You're not going to have music out. This is a long haul type of project, and we're going to put in a lot of time. Which
also seems like a fundamental thing.
Yeah, big time. And yeah, and so he basically, I'd never co-written songs before either. I'd written a handful of things, but just by myself, and they weren't very good. But he kind of was like, well, there's enough of a start here. We can try and see if you want to be a writer or whatnot. And I really didn't have any strong feeling either way, but he set up some co-writes for me, and so we did that, and I ended up loving that. And so, we wrote, I don't know, in the realm of 300 songs or something over 5 years,
Good
6
heavens.
years before we, picked 12 and put out the first record. So
good heavens.
it was, and just all of that stuff, while like frustrating at times when it's like I'm kind of, especially once I moved to Nashville, which wasn't, I flew in and out for from 2018 to 21, I was still working my construction job in Colorado, and I'd work 2 weeks straight there and then have the week off in Nashville, or not off, but in Nashville to write, meet people, do whatever, work on the dream, I guess. And so that was, 21, I finally got moved there full time, and that was really frustrating because then I started to meet some of the other guys, younger fellas that were trying to do what I was doing too, and they're playing gigs around town, and they're, kind of feels like they're getting more notice than me, and I'm just keeping my head down. I started working construction again in Nashville, and I took a couple days a week to write because that's what Carson advised me to do. He was like, no, you don't want to go dive in and play as many gigs as you can in Nashville. The way he kind of put it to me was, for one thing, the kind of the mystique of it is pretty important when you starting off. Like, people will start to realize that you're here a little bit, and they'll wonder who you are and why you're not just available to see any afternoon of the week playing some little writers round or whatever. And then he was also like, you're not like your fully fledged artist yet. We're still zeroing in on the, all right, now we found it, here's Zach Top.
But you knew then though that you liked this kind of sound.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. It was mostly just like with my writing that we were kind of like experimenting, just, get a little out this way and get a little out this way and try to find exactly where I wanted to be as far as writing went. But yeah, so we did that for a long time, and I figured when I moved to Nashville, it'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get gigs on Broadway. I'm gonna play every writers round I possibly can. Where I'm done swinging a hammer. I'm a musician now, and that was not the case. He kind of said, no, let's not do that. Keep your head down. Let's keep writing. When the time is right to make a big splash, then we'll do that. And so, which looking back, it was frustrating at the time. Because like I didn't move to Nashville to keep swinging a hammer, but looking back on it as solid gold advice for sure.
Were you still during those 5 years? Like, how much of social media were you trying to utilize for your career?
Yeah, I was doing it all on my own at that point. I never really did anything but just me playing covers. Every now and then I'd play one of my originals. If we wrote a good one that I really liked that day, I'd be like, here's a course of this thing, see if you like it. And but yeah, just playing a bunch of old songs that I loved, and it kept on slowly building. People kept on enjoying it, and yeah, that was the only thing really that I was doing to get noticed. So people were aware that I was around singing somewhere, but wasn't, couldn't get a ticket to go see a show.
I mean, that part of it's kind of cool. It's just like, you let people know you're still alive and doing the deal, but also you're not necessarily having
kind
to
of
play
not
all
on
over
the face
country.
of the earth. Yeah.
What?
And that was the way that he put it to me one time that makes a lot of sense to me, was like, if you can get it built up to a point where on your own, where Nashville wants you more than you need them, that's where you need
Sweet
to be.
spot.
Yeah.
That way they don't have leverage on you.
Exactly. Then you're not going to, like, the first record deal that gets offered, you're like,
don't have
I'll
to
take it, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, you kind of, it's like, no, I've got a thing built here right now. It can, because that was where it was at that point, like before I signed my deal. We were running around, we were playing shows, we were selling tickets, we were opening for people. It was, if I'd have kept going on my own, it could have, kept working. It'd be a slower road. But yeah, it was at that point where it's like, we've got enough stuff going here. And at that point I had, like, there was more people behind me than Carson at that point. I had a publishing deal with Major Bob Music. Bob Doyle was, Garth's manager from day one, Garth Brooks, and published him from day one too. So obviously he knows exactly how to kind of guide along a growing act, I guess. So they were helping a lot, and certainly financially helping as far as, like, they gave me a publishing deal, so I was making a check to turn in a quota of songs that I had written. So that was good. That kept me, cut down my construction schedule a little bit. I was still doing a little bit for a while. But then, at some point it was like, all right, I was making enough on my pub deal and playing some shows that I didn't need to do the hammer swinging anymore. And then, that was kind of, they were the ones backing me. They published me, and then shortly after we did a management deal as well. And then, that's been over a year now. Not this last September, but September before, August or September, signed my record deal with the label I'm with now, which that was fun too. They're a brand new company. I was the first thing they signed. And it's a bunch of people that had been around the Nashville industry, veterans at record labels and different, companies. And there was a small little lean group that kind of had as much to prove as I did at that point. And so I felt like a really good partnership where, as opposed to signing with a major label where there's 40 artists on their label already making money. And so if one thing doesn't work for me, it's easy for them to forget about me. And then I'm just stuck in a deal for 5 years without them paying too much attention and trying to really boost me. So I liked being there.
Sounds like maybe Carson helped you make that. I mean, he probably
100%.
knew.
Yeah. He's been the biggest mentor and
because that
guide and all of
sounds
that stuff.
risky. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna start new. We got this new, and we want you to sign with us.
Yeah.
But if Carson's there, like, no, this is gonna be
This
good.
makes
Yeah.
Yep.
It also just dating back to when you first shook hands with him, and like that. Did that give you a sense of hope for the start of something? I'm sure there, like you said, there was times where it's like, man, I'd rather not be slinging a hammer in Nashville, but also there's probably like some underlying assurance that something was going to maybe come to fruition because he's involved.
Absolutely. He was the first one that ever made me feel like it's like, oh, I know it's a thing, but like he was the first one that was like, all right, here's actually an opportunity that could work, that I could do this for a living. And that's all I want to do. So that was, is kind of seeing his track record of success. He hadn't steered me wrong yet. And he's been involved in pretty much every major decision that I've made as far as my music career.
Man, that sounds like a blessing.
Huge. Yeah.
Like you can just, because the moments that I look back on where I feel like things went my way, it always included me meeting someone or me having this perfect person in my life.
Yep.
And number one, it makes me realize like, oh man, I didn't do this anything alone. I can't be successful on my own.
Absolutely.
It takes God to bring these people into my life for me to accomplish anything.
Absolutely.
And man, I feel like that might be one of those moments where you're just like, I don't want to bounce around. I'm trying to, but it sounds like Vegas. So you and I have been DMing for a while, and I appreciate you, even visiting with me at all about jumping on the podcast. But
absolutely,
Vegas sounded like crazy busy for you. So like you had to play a show.
Yep.
Then like catch like a red-eye flight back to the East Coast, then another back.
That was a pretty hellish 2 weeks for me because the week leading up to Vegas too, I think we did Tampa, Florida on Tuesday, flew to Houston, played there Wednesday, Houston to Seattle, played there Thursday, then Seattle to Vegas, played a thing. Yeah, that was our first kind of Vegas NFR show. Played for the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for their after party over at the Palms. Then bus down to Phoenix, played a private there. Back to Vegas, played a radio show in Vegas on Sunday. Then I had Monday, Tuesday, where I didn't have a show, but of course, all the NFR stuff, you're doing interviews and there's plenty of other stuff to fill your day. And then I caught a red eye Tuesday night to Raleigh, played a show in Raleigh. Back Wednesday morning, then had, I guess Thursday we played Thursday. No, didn't play Thursday night. Another thing where there's, interviews, did a photo shoot and all kinds of different stuff. But then, Friday played our last show in Vegas. But it was a lot of in and out and not
Are the
much.
red eye flight, you're probably not commercial.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're sitting back in economy.
No, I made him fly me first class.
Yeah, if they're gonna which I agree with. Hey, if you're gonna fly me back in the middle of the night and I got to turn right back around, give me a seat.
Give me a chance to sleep a little bit.
Give me a chance to sleep. Exactly. Yeah, that's one of those shameless upgrades that you ask for in the negotiation. I ain't sitting in the exit row
in the middle. Just
damn seats won't even lean back
exactly
an inch. Sir, can you lean that seat up?
Exactly. It's 20 minutes till we land.
Yeah. Man. So. You've mentioned, you talked about Waylon and Merle, but, you're 3 and 4 years old. You're talking about George Strait, and you've mentioned Alan Jackson, Keith Whitley.
Yep.
Who else are some of those 90s type country artists that have shaped your inspiration?
Big Mark Chestnut fan. Joe Diffie, another great one. Tracy Lawrence for sure. Randy Travis. I feel like I get more. It's either Randy Travis or Doug Stone, which is funny to me because Doug Stone I never listened to a whole lot. I knew a couple of his hits and stuff, but didn't really dig into him a lot. But those are the most common comparisons I'll get. That it's like, oh, you sound like young Randy Travis, or you sound like young Doug Stone. But those would be big. And then I a lot of the grass stuff too was a big influence on me. Like even now doing straight up country music, I feel like it's still heavily influenced by what I was doing in the grass world and the guys I was listening to back then. When I was little, all I wanted to do was be a guitar player, and so Tony Rice is about the most iconic bluegrass guitar player there is. I was just trying to copy everything he did, and then there was guys like Ricky Skaggs is another example of somebody who started in the grass world and transitioned to country and had a successful career in both. Of course, Whitley did that too. And then Larry Sparks is another great one where he just the most soulful singer I think I've ever heard. Sounds like a basset hound with a guitar. And I mean that in the best way, Larry, if you hear this.
Yeah.
But those were big ones. I'm trying to, and I remember hating my sisters because they played so much Shania Twain. When we're like 12 or 13 years old or something, I was listening to I had box sets of George Jones. Going back to the 50s and stuff, and I think they hated me for always blasting that in my room, and I hated them for listening to Shania Twain and Martina McBride. But that stuff too, I think, had pretty good influence on me. I remember listening to a lot of earlier Tim McGraw stuff too. My parents were big fans of him. Bunch of Jimmy Buffett too, and you hear that in a couple songs that I've got out. That kind of influence, I love that. The kind of island country vibe a little bit is a nice little,
for sure,
facet of what I do. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be a good little pile of the guys
cool
that I grew up on.
So you do like maybe a throwback show with your family.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
There's people have brought that up lately. I don't know if I can get my siblings' schedules. They're all pretty busy and successful too, and they might not have the room in their schedule to come do a show. But it's been tossed around, and we still have. It's so fun. Like every time we have a family get together, guitars get busted out, and we still sing all a bunch of old songs that we used to do, and old country covers and stuff. And so it's always, they definitely are still music part of their life for sure. But just like I said, grew up and got real jobs.
Who have you been excited to open for? But like prior to now, you're the main deal. But backing up in your story in those 5 years, leading up to 24, who like you talking about opening for people? Like, who are some of those that you kind of got on that wagon and you were excited to be there and you felt like, man, we're
one of the coolest ones, still is one of the coolest ones to me. We got to open a short run for Dwight Yoakam, and that was another one that I remembered hearing a lot of his music growing up, and he had a whole different thing than any of those guys, but more of that Bakersfield sound, which I loved too.
That was huge opening for him.
It was so cool.
Probably so many people.
Yeah, he was doing. It was, I don't know, 5,000 a night or something. And if you think about how long he's been doing that many people, and for a lot of his career doing, way more tickets than that, but he's still out there, with pretty substantial touring schedule and doing that many a night is crazy. And
that is wild.
Those shows rocked, man. His band's great. He still sings his butt off, and that was a very fun one early on.
Ever since I started riding bulls and punching fools, I've been wearing an American hat because I'm an American. I actually wore a different hat before that for the longest, but then my mom got a job. So wear an American hat, old son. Otherwise, you ain't no cowboy. Hey, Bro-Tater Chip, if you like getting swole-o-matic, then get yourself some Protein on MountainOps.com. Hey, or if you just like being healthy, whether you're trying to bulk up, get healthy, have energy, go to MountainOps.com and use code Kevin for 20% off.
And then I'm trying to think of some other. I mean, last year, which was, kind of our breakout year, I guess, so far, getting to open for Lainey. All year was really cool. She's got her own. Yeah, it's not the 90s country thing, but it's like a super authentic thing that she does that's way different and more back toward the country thing than music has been, or than country music has been for a while. So that felt like a really cool one to be on. Obviously cool, just to be attached to it. But
I bet her people loved your style.
Yeah, for sure. It was great to be on those shows. I think we definitely adopted a good number of her fans.
And now opening for you, you got Jake coming up.
Oh yeah,
Worthington. He seems like
favorite,
he's
dude.
On the come up. You like him?
Oh, I love Jake. We've been buddies for a long time. I opened a couple of shows for him in Texas back just a couple years ago. But yeah, we've known each other for a while and mutual fans and friends and all that. He's great. He's about my favorite singer out there right now. Yeah, he's awesome. We got a gal named Lauren Watkins. She's over there on Big Loud too, the Morgan Wallen label and all that. Well, Jake's on there too. But she's coming out with us for a string of those shows too. And then we got a buddy of mine, Cole Goodwin. He's out of Georgia, not signed to anything yet. Well, actually, he did sign a publishing deal recently in Nashville. But he's kind of same sort of thing where he's kept Nashville a little bit at arm's length and kind of built his own little thing down in Georgia. And he's a great little player and singer. And if you haven't heard of him, go check him out. All them three, check him out. He opened a handful of shows for us last year, and he'll go out for a good stretch this spring. He's great. But it's fun. Yeah, it's fun to be in that position now. I was so grateful for it when Lainey, because it was before the record came out, it felt like she was definitely throwing us a big bone when she gave me the offer to come open for them on that tour. And so it's fun to be in that position now to like look around and find somebody that feels like, oh my gosh, you are so good and not near recognized enough. I feel like all them three are fit that bill perfectly, where it's like, I hope if I can help you just a little bit, like get in front of a few more people, y'all are gonna blow up the same kind of opportunity that I had on the Laney tour, I think. So
dang, that's crazy that there's so much of, I mean, I feel like, was it around the time you released the album? Like, when was the switch?
Yeah,
It
was about then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no longer opening for people. I need people to open for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was great to, like, when the album came out, we were playing like, 500-600 cap clubs, running around in a Sprinter van. The fact that we got to be on the Laney tour was steady money enough that we could afford to get into a bus, which is probably good, because that was, my sleep schedule's bad enough now with a bus. It was real bad when I was having to do half or a third of the driving in a Sprinter van in between the shows. Yeah, it helped us tremendously. And then, things like when you get to start selling merch and whatnot, which I know you know a ton about, because when me and my buddies in college first discovered you, we all bought all the T-shirts and had them on, all the You Ain't No Cowboy
awesome.
T-shirts. Yeah, man, we were rocking them. But, that thing starts to, as you, start to be somebody that people think is cool, it's all of a sudden it's cool to have your T-shirt. And so being on the Laney tour, playing in front of 20,000 people instead of, 300, those merch numbers reflect that too. And so,
dang, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
When you get to throw some,
Yeah.
is it the same merch booth, or you have your own?
Usually they were set up. No, it's kind of all the same booth, and you're kind of down on one end and the other opener's down on the other end, and then Laney stuff is kind of in the middle. But people were very kind to us on that tour. It's like, I think, even all the people that hadn't heard us before, we did a good enough job for our, little 25-minute set that they're like, I'll go try a T-shirt of that guy.
They want to, it's, man, shirts at a concert, like, it's crazy. Just I got to commemorate this experience I've had.
Yeah.
With and you've got some crazy cool shirts that I've seen out in the wild that
Nice.
They match it. Your designers did a great job, or maybe you designed it, of matching the graphics with your style of music,
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
absolutely.
you can hear that shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to throw credit to my boy Kane Stewart on that. He was super instrumental. He's done all my photography stuff, all the videos we've put out. He's kind of been the director on all that stuff, and he has so far designed all the merch too, and been because I feel like I have, in my mind, I know exactly what I want the music to be, and I feel very strongly on that. And outside of that stuff, I'm kind of like, I need to lean on other people to help be like, this fits that'll work. And so he was big early on, and still is, working with me, kind of, keeping the stuff fitting, just like you said, the whatever visual aspects and branding there is fitting with the music, and making sure those go hand in hand.
And you're still obviously, working at, and I'm sure you still probably see social media as a tool.
Oh yeah.
Do you,
Always.
what's your strategy there? Like, is I mean, basically just keeping people up to date, or like, do you have kind of it seems like your stuff comes across pretty authentic. And I guess I'm just wondering, as a creator myself, is that you just throwing it out there, or are you guys like strategically trying to put out do you have like a schedule? Like, how are you working that?
To some extent. I've got a company called Venture, a great little team over there that runs it, all my socials for me. I don't I don't even have the logins to my socials anymore. I couldn't get on them if I wanted. So you were DMing Tyler Burns first, and then he was sending me. I was texting him back responses to send you and stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyways, but yeah, it.
I hope he didn't show you any of those pictures.
No, he said there was something in there that I asked him to just give me your phone and I'll DM him back. He said, no, just text me your response. So I figured there was something being hidden
no,
there.
I'm sure. Yeah, I need to use that unsend feature.
That's right. But yeah, it's mostly
just shirtless on the couch. Sup, Zach? Hey, man, love to have you on the pod.
If this don't sell it, I don't know what will.
This is what got Co Wetzel on. Maybe it'll work with Zach. Oh, shoot.
That's beautiful. But yeah, it's still just, I feel like early on trying to build the social media, it was a lot of like trying to post 3 or 4 times a week some cover of a song that I thought people would like. Well, it was mostly just stuff that I liked, but that was, a hit song too.
34 times a week is a lot.
Now it's a bit.
That's a lot. 34 times. I try to post that many times a week.
No. Oh, my goodness.
I love getting people with that.
That's perfect.
I love it. Yeah, you got to get people with that.
That's perfect. But yeah, now it's more, like you said, kind of keeping people updated, posting at the beginning of the week something that's like, come to a show, here's the schedule, cities, whatever. And then show recaps too, some photos from the show and, maybe a clip of some live audio or something from it. And then in between there, I still think it's a fun thing for me. Like I've decided a lot of like the covers that I throw into my show by what works on social media. Like we started doing one of the biggest viral videos that I had of me doing a cover was 2 Dozen Roses by Shenandoah. And we covered that all last year and people just went nuts for it.
Oh, I bet.
And obviously it's a huge hit song just on its own, but I think the fact that it's like they liked my version on TikTok or whatever it was too helps, that they're like, oh yeah, you do 2 Dozen Roses. So I've picked, songs to put in my set based on that too, which I think it's super helpful tool for that type of thing as well.
Well, it makes sense that you've got that sound. Like I said, man, I remember that moment, and I'm trying to best describe, because like these guys know me. Like I'm not the best at staying up to date on music, and so in that moment when I heard I Never Lie, I was thinking like, how did I miss this 90s song? Like, how do I not know? Like I rode in the truck with my dad in the 90s. How do I not? Because it just had that sound to it. I just knew it came from the late 90s. Yeah. And I was mad at myself. I was like, there I go again. I need to ask my interns, who sang this? Was it, Tracy Lawrence?
Yeah.
Or whoever, And so anyhow, I say that to say
that's a huge compliment to me because I love so much of that stuff from that era is so timeless. Yeah, it happened in the 90s, but it's like that type of stuff that like we'll still be listening to in 2050 and looking back on,
Well, the reason I bring that up is like it makes sense that a guy like yourself who puts out originals like that sound like they came from 25 years ago. Yeah. The audience would also love to hear you sing songs from 25 years ago.
100%.
So like a cover for you would just, but again, no offense to some of those trend hoppers, but it's going to be harder for them to cover a George Strait song if they're trying to follow Florida Georgia Line trend.
100%.
Yeah, that it just wouldn't fit their set at all.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, because sometimes, you hear a cover of a song and it doesn't happen super often, but if it was a hit, there's some covers that people like the covers better than they do the original.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's a good, there's a good handful of songs you could think of. I mean, hell, the Tracy Chapman song that Luke Combs just had Song of the Year last year or something with that Fast Car, that was probably every bit as popular and more so than Tracy Chapman's original version ever was.
Yeah, that's true.
And that wasn't even a country hit,
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a pop thing back in the day, and Luke Combs had a huge hit on it in the country world.
So what's next? What's going on in 2025?
The tour this spring is what I'm most itching to get started with now. It feels like been a lot of planning and a lot of work put into getting ready for it, and now our first show is the 16th of this month in Omaha, and we'll go from there all over the place till May. So that'll be awesome. The other huge cool one is get to open 4 shows for Alan Jackson this spring as well. He's doing a real light schedule. It's like 1 show a month, but I was pretty tickled pink when he asked us to do that with him as well. Yeah, it feels like a cool he says it's his last farewell tour thing, which George Strait said that like 8 years ago, and he's still out there playing shows, so who knows. But those farewell tours make a hell of a lot of money. Anyways,
what are some big stops? Do you go to?
We're doing we'll do Fort Worth, Dickies Arena with Alan, be in Tampa, Orlando, and then Milwaukee, I think. So Fort Worth obviously makes a bunch of sense. The other ones, I mean, I don't know. There's Alan Jackson fans all over the country. I'm sure he can sell out a big old arena anywhere he wants to go.
Houston?
We're doing the Houston Rodeo.
Dang, that's what I was wondering.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the date?
Tuesday, March 11, I believe.
March 11.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I usually have a booth there at the rodeo, and if they'll just add a little bit of money, I'll come over there and get on a bull.
That's exactly.
But normally, I'm just there with my apparel line.
There you go.
But anyhow, I'll try to be
it.
there March 11th.
Yeah, I'm pumped. We get to do a bunch of that. I love, a rodeo crowd is one of the most fun to play for, and especially because my music appeals to that side of things a lot. We get to do Houston. We'll do San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. We'll do the Dixie National.
Nice.
What else is it? The only big one that I was like, I really want to do was Cheyenne Frontier Days. We're not doing that this year. But I told the booking agent, before anything gets put on for 2026, we need to get out there and play that, because that's obviously, I don't know, if you're in the rodeo world, obviously, and if you're in country music, that's
Did you ever try to
list.
do anything rodeoing?
Man, I really liked roping when I was little. I'd be out there roping a dummy for a long time, and I can still, catch a dummy 10 times in a row or something. But I think I really loved it. Like, my dad has been in the livestock business all my life. He still runs a sale barn back home, and just actually got into owning some more cattle too, which he hasn't for a long time. But him and his partner, when I was little, had a big ranch. They ran a lot of Black Angus cattle, and so we get to go out and do all the gathers and brandings and all that kind of fun stuff. And then the place where we lived was more of a little hobby farm. We had some goats around there, a few head of cattle, a few horses hanging around, a bunch of chickens. But we got early on learned how to take care of an animal and keep things up and do all that kind of thing, which I think was awesome, an awesome way to grow up. But yeah, I think my dad kind of steered me away from it a little bit too. I think he was around that world enough. He did rodeo event, the wild horse race. That one. Yeah, he was. I can't remember which position, if he was a mugger or what he was. But he did that, and he's got a couple buckles from that, and I always thought that was pretty cool. But I think
those guys are tough.
Oh yeah. But I think he kind of was around that world enough that he kind of steered me away from it a little bit. Probably saved me some broken bones, I suppose.
Well, I was gonna say, I got some bulls.
Yeah,
we
baby.
Can put you on one.
I'll come get down. Don't let my record label and my manager hear me, but I'd love to come get on a little bull. Just give me a little smaller sized one. It ain't gonna really buck me too hard.
I got one. His nickname's Birthday Cake.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that sounds like the perfect. I can sit on a birthday cake for 8 seconds. Yeah,
I'm telling you, this bull is and
perfect.
then I'm thinking hat down, no helmet.
Oh yeah,
maybe
definitely no helmet. No.
Yeah, no helmet
for sure.
You can we'll put a cigarette in your mouth.
Oh yeah,
like JB back there.
Yeah, me and JB talked about that out at NFR. Yeah,
and
that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, it could be the cover of your next album.
Yeah.
Put me on your team. Look,
I love it.
I got all these ideas.
It's beautiful.
And the rodeo songs are just going to start flowing.
Oh, yeah. I know. I need to get a more authentic taste of it to really be able to speak to the rodeo man's heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a follow-up song to Amarillo by Morning.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm out of here by evening. Or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
there you go. Yeah, maybe Waco by evening. Yeah, I don't know, something
Are
like
we
that.
writing a song right now?
We might be. We might be. You guys are not on it. You got to contribute a word to have
Yeah.
a percentage of it, all right?
Yeah,
so
this
far,
is,
me and Dale's the only ones contributing.
We are co-writing.
You don't get a piece of the song just for sitting here.
Yeah. So don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah, I'll jot some notes down.
Yeah.
And
Dude, we'll just keep DMing line ideas back and forth in between
Okay,
the
that way it goes
shirtless
through.
couch pictures and stuff. No,
you're
I'll
wanting it to
log
go through
in.
Tyler.
Yeah, that's right.
That way he can
he'll screen them.
through. I see what
No,
you're
you got
doing.
my number now. You can send the shirtless couch selfie straight to my phone, so it's perfect. And
Zach,
the song ideas.
lyrics. Hey man, got some new
Just chilling here on a Wednesday night. Thought I'd send these over.
I'm in Winnebago. Got some new lyrics.
Yeah,
Cool.
love it.
So you're gonna ski tomorrow before you fly out?
No, we skied Monday and then today played the show on Tuesday. So I think we're kind of tapped out. We'll fly out about noon, or a little bit after that, I think. So we're just gonna chill out, catch a little music tonight, wander around, see what we
Nice.
get
Who are
into.
you gonna see? You know,
I don't know. Who are you announcing tonight?
Chris Knight.
Okay.
And Band of Heathens over at
Nice. Heck yeah.
Timber and Torch.
Heck yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of buddies with some of the guys, Wade Bowen, Flatland Cavalry, Cleto Cordero, a few of them guys. So I think they're playing the tent tonight, so maybe we'll
Nice.
wander up there, see them. But dang, I like to
Wade's
go.
jumping on tomorrow. The
Okay.
podcast.
Nice, hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he is a goofy man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's super fun.
Yeah, man.
He's real good at this. He's like, hey, I got to take this. I'll see it. I'll catch you in a bit. He'll have his phone and it turned out like that. He does everybody. Next
That's
time you're
awesome.
around him, you got to do that.
Yeah, I
Like,
will.
Have,
I'll
hey,
steal his trick.
wait, I got to take this. Let me
Sorry,
talk
man.
to you later.
I love it.
Yeah, it kills me. But
That
cool,
one
man.
in 34 is a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'll remember both.
You can
of
have
those.
both of those.
Perfect.
Just give me credit the first 3 times you
Yeah.
use them.
That's fair enough.
After that, they're yours.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
We usually wrap these up with life advice.
Ooh,
You got any?
I don't know that anybody wants any from me. But that's nice. I like it. I think maybe what we were talking about earlier, where it's as much as you can avoid, because I think it's an easy thing to get into. If your thing starts working, you can kind of get to a position of like, heck yeah, I'm the friggin' man. I got this, rolling, and this is my thing. It's like remembering that yeah, none of that comes about on your own. That the multitude of people, even beyond the, there's obvious prominent ones, your mom and your dad, and like Carson for me and stuff, but the dozens, maybe hundreds of people that you've run across that have slowly, got you to where you're going now.
That God put in your life to.
Exactly.
'Cause you're a Christian, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what I've heard.
I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of those Bible thumpers.
Oh, you know it.
Do-gooders.
Yeah, I should probably do a little more do-goodering and Bible thumping maybe, but I definitely am believe in Jesus. But yeah, I think that's like, and maybe even before that, to like, don't turn down those opportunities to meet people. You never know what comes.
Yeah, no
of it.
kidding.
Try and just soak up as much as you can from everybody you come into contact with, maybe.
And then when you do get an email, Wikipedia the person before you
Exactly, before you call them back.
before you trash it.
Because there are some people out there that you don't need to take a meeting with.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I'm excited. Congratulations on all
Thanks,
your success. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
Of course. I've been a fan a long time. Thank you for having me.
No, man, it's pleasure's all mine. And we're on to the next one.
On to the
Winnebago.
next. Keeping her
Pow, pow.
90.
Yeah, y'all check out Zach Top. Yes, sir. Pow pow.